Okay? California has some unique challenges that we've added to that. We have indiscriminate vote by mail. I don't have time to go into that a lot today, but there is a flyer on the back table. Maybe my husband will pass them out to you now. All the reasons why you should get off that list if you're on it. And if ever it rears its head again, which I'm sure it will because it's already done it several times in California, where they're trying to say, let's just all go on mail-in. Let's not have precincts. Let's not vote in person anymore. You need to fight that with every ounce of your energy because it is #1 tool for fraud in this country. The #1 tool for fraud. Okay, the National Commission on Federal Election Reform, which is co-chaired by Ford and Carter in 2001, said that their results were that most states don't even routinely check the signatures on the applications or on the return ballots. They also pointed out that absentee ballots do not fulfill 5 essential criteria for sound and honest elections. First, they don't assure privacy. Your name's on that thing, and how many hands does it go through before it finally gets to where it should be counted, if it gets there at all? #2, it doesn't verify that only duly registered voters cast ballots. I have to tell the story we got from Sharon Angle, who said that a guy was making calls for his party and talking to the party members for the upcoming election and said, you know, may I please speak to Nancy? And the gentleman who answered the phone said, why do you want to talk to Nancy? So the caller said, well, because I'm calling from so-and-so political party and I want to talk to her about the upcoming election. The guy said, I repeat my question, why do you want to talk to Nancy? Well, Nancy's registered with our party and we would like to talk about some of the issues over with her. To which the person on the phone said, do you understand that Nancy's only 11 years old? And the party caller said, do you know that Nancy's voted in the last 5 elections? That's not a 1 in a million thing. That happens more often than you might think. So it's very important that you know that whoever is casting a ballot is a legitimate voter, and you don't have that security with absentee ballots.
Excuse me, can you remind them of who Sharon Angle is?
Sharon Angle was the lady in Nevada who ran against Harry Reid. Okay, and we had a fundraiser with her in October. She came to town, and that was one of the stories that she told. Okay, they don't safeguard ballots against loss or alteration. How many hands again are these going through? How many of you have not lost something in the mail? Okay, they get lost, they get altered, and so they're not secure. And they don't assure a prompt counting. Your ballot, if you turn in your ballot right after you get it and you mail it back in, you're voting early, people. You ever been on a jury where the judge said, hey, when you know whether this guy's innocent or guilty, just go ahead out for coffee. You don't have to listen to all the evidence. Well, when you're voting early, that's exactly what you're doing. Exactly what you're doing. And we have states that allow 17 to 21 days early voting, and one state that allows 3 months early voting. Now, what does that do to campaigns? But absentee ballot voting is also early voting. And how many of you have changed your mind in the last week or 2 of an election because of something that came out, something that all of a sudden went, oh, okay, I didn't know that before. Okay, so if you vote, the minute your ballot gets there, you fill it out, you mail it in, it gets, just to make sure that it'll get there on time, you voted without all the evidence. If you hang on to it and you walk it in on election day and turn it in at the polls, then why aren't you just voting at the polls? You're going to walk in anyway. Okay, you turn it in and it goes in a separate box. Now the early ones that arrive at the registrar of voters, they start counting them and keep those results private, and then at 8:05 when you turn on your TV on election night and you start getting the returns, those are the first returns you're seeing, are the early absentee ballots that were counted ahead of time. But then when they come in 2 weeks before the election, they stop counting those, so they just stockpile. And then the ones that come in on election day come in and they're added to the stockpile. After all other votes are counted, and if and only if the counters determine that they need to know the information in the absentee ballots, do the rest of them get counted. So if you want to make sure your ballot is tallied, win or lose, you will not vote absentee. Okay? So it's really easy to get off the list. You either call or better walk in rough and road and say, gee, I'd like to get off this list, and you re-register as a not permanent absentee ballot voter, and you walk in and you vote on election day. And the last thing that I don't want you to discount that they said is an essential criteria for elections in this country is that it doesn't foster the communal aspect of citizens voting together. I get a chill down my spine just talking about it, let alone doing it. Every day from the time I was 18 and registered to vote, I would walk in and into some garage in the neighborhood, in this flimsy little cardboard booth, and make a decision that along with that same decision by all of the people around me, who I probably didn't even know, most of them, but they're all walking in there together, and together we're making a decision that's going to change the course of the country. That's important. And to have that communal feeling of doing that is so essential. You know what? When you're filling out your absentee ballot while you're watching the rerun of Survivor, you don't get that feeling. You don't get it. And it's essential to know what it means to be an American, to know what it means to have the opportunity that the vast majority of the people in anywhere else in this world don't have and never will. Let's not discount it. Okay, the other thing we have with California is that we have now approved online registration. That's just one step further away from that eyeball-to-eyeball accountability that has some chance of making sure that the people who are registered actually exist. Okay. And then we're fighting on same-day registration. I have a feeling it's going to be reality before this next election, which means with all the opportunities you have to register, anytime you walk out of the grocery store, anytime you go anywhere, suddenly on election day you can go, oh gee, I'd like to vote. I think I'll go register at least. Come on. But anyway, the law is supposed to read. I mean, it's going to make permutations, but the last permutation was that you have to go into the ROV to do that in the same day. What I do know, though, is that there were same-day registrations accepted in various places in California, because I have first-hand people telling me that they saw it happen, even before it was law. And they weren't given provisional ballots, they were given same-day ballots. That's dangerous, okay? So we have to maybe write our assembly people and write our state senators and say, don't do this. Don't do this. It's dangerous. Okay, I like this quote that J. Christian Adams has in his book. The 19th century commentator on America, Francis Grund, said that if you change the domestic habits of the Americans, change their religious devotion, their high respect for morality, it won't be necessary to change a single letter of the Constitution in order to change their form of government. If morality, decency, and the rule of law, which is what we were founded on, the principles we were founded on, morality, decency, and the rule of law, they get replaced by angry grievance, Occupy Wall Street. They get replaced by the rule of men. I'm not going to enforce Section 8 of this law. Judicial activism. If those changes are made, then the election administrators cannot be expected alone, by themselves, to maintain legitimate elections. So free and fair elections rely on enough people, you and me, we the people, believing that that's what we need to have. Election Integrity Project. We're going to talk about the word integrity. In an election, what it means is that the results of that election accurately reflect the will of the majority of the people who cast legitimate ballots in that election. Personal integrity means that your beliefs and what you say you believe and what you do match. When I say I want to lose these pounds I need to lose, and then I go over there and eat an Oreo, I don't have integrity. And all of us face that on a regular basis in some area of our lives. We're constantly struggling to maintain our own personal integrity. And what I'm going to challenge you with tonight is the integrity, because I think everybody in this room is going to say, yeah, America should have free and fair elections. Okay? We're designed to the system that there's winners and there's losers, and I'm comfortable with that however it goes, as long as the results were arrived at freely and fairly and accurately. So we are completely nonpartisan. We're not pushing any agenda other than free and fair elections. Okay? But if you truly believe that, you'll sign that sheet back there if I don't already have your email address, and you will get involved in some way. This is the way I would change that statement. Free and fair elections rely not just on enough people believing in those, but enough people having the integrity to match that belief to their actions. And those are the people who are involved with EIP. We're the sunshine. Glenn Beck's sunshine, you know, the Disinfectant, the ultimate disinfectant is sunshine. All those mistakes, all those things caused by ignorance and carelessness and apathy. It's not just fraud, people. It's a lot of things that we can do something about if we have oversight, okay? And all those things happen in those dark little shadowy corners, but people don't see. Now, we're the sunshine, and there are no more dark and shadowy corners in the election process. Then we're going to cut this down by a lot, and we're going to have free and fair and honest elections. So we partner with the Registrar of Voters. We help them. They have an enormous job. We have 1.5 million voters in the county of San Diego, and they have 63 employees. How are they going to do this job? I mean, they're doing a spectacular job of what they do, but they need our help. And so we partner with them. We create a good relationship with them, and they're happy to have our assistance because we are not adversarial in any way, shape, or form. We're helping where they can't do it alone. We assist in cleaning the voter rolls, what they don't have the time and the personnel to do. We provide and train poll workers. You know, the biggest danger to our having elections and not having to go to all absentee ballot is people stepping forward and saying, I'll work the polls. I'll be willing to work the polls. If they don't have enough volunteers to work the polls, they will have to go to all mail-in. So some of us have to step forward and do that job. We train our poll workers so that we know that the people working those polls know the law and aren't going to make the careless mistakes. Okay. We also provide and train poll observers, and we can talk about what that is at a later time, but that's an essential thing. We need about 6,000 of those in order to cover every poll in San Diego County. Okay? So that is basically what we are. I have these sheets that I would like you to sign. As I said, give me your